Cheers. All right, here we are with Nathan and Paige, who are going to record our Wine About the Market with us. So, obviously today is not wine about the market. We're going to do beer about the market.
They prefer beers.
Okay, so Nathan and Paige, they bought their first house, and that's where we are filming tonight, which is so nice of you guys to welcome us into your home.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
So
And they're in the midst of painting and taking down wallpaper, and they're so gracious to let us in.
It's a little bit of a mess in here, but it's okay.
No, it looks great. It looks good. It is a work in progress, and that's part of the fun of buying your first home.
Yes.
So, we have some questions we want to ask you, and I'm old, so I'm going to put on my glasses to be able to read our questions. So, first of all, of course, congratulations
Thank you.
on your first home.
It's exciting.
Yeah, we're so happy for you guys. I told Nathan that you guys, first-time buyers, are always my favorite clients. I mean, everybody's my favorite client. But I love working with first-time buyers. It's so fun. And so we're excited to be here tonight to kind of share the joy. We want to share it with everybody else. So we wanted to first ask you, what inspired you guys or finally got you off the fence and made you decide that you wanted to buy a home?
I feel like the biggest thing is we've just been renting for so long.
Yeah.
Personally, this is obviously my first house, but I've kind of bounced around to so many different apartments throughout my life that having actual roots was really what I was looking for personally, and then obviously establishing ourselves here in Boise as well.
Yes, good.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and now you really do have roots.
Yes.
Yeah, we got married about a year ago, so it was exciting for us to take the next step, and that was buying a house and getting settled somewhere that we absolutely love, and this is where we want to call home. So.
Yeah.
Yay, good.
My parents are very sad about it, but
Oh, I know. We know. We
They're
have
excited
kids
for us, so.
who do not live where we live, so we know. Sorry, Mom and Dad.
yes.
You guys had to choose your real estate agents.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you work out with Julie.
Yes.
So talk a
Well,
little
he
bit.
doesn't work out with me.
No.
He makes me work out.
I kind of stand around.
No, we don't.
What made you decide to choose Julie as your real estate agent and use our team, and share a little bit about that process?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say we did shop around for every component of the home buying process, and Julie was just the most real. She was personable. She treated us like her kids. If she couldn't make it,
Like it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just connection. I guess would be it, and it was perfect fit.
Oh, thank you.
And obviously just our relationship from knowing each other for about a little over a year or so.
Yeah, I think it's more than a year now.
Yeah, 'cause I think I took you on as a client pretty much right away when I started for the most part. So
it was
that's about
before
2
you
years.
guys got married.
Yes.
So-
So obviously getting to know you, and then that's like the biggest thing is when we did shop around, I know you were very not pushy about it, which was great. And then once we actually committed to buying a house, we already had that relationship. So we trust you, and obviously everything worked out very well for us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're pretty happy about that.
Thank you.
We needed someone that could keep up with my questions. And
Yeah.
they did great.
That's very true.
You have good questions. Paige, for a first-time buyer, she was very sharp and had excellent questions, and we love that. So managing your expectations. So sometimes when you're a first-time buyer, you can start to feel overwhelmed by the process. I mean, you guys know there is a lot to it. What do you think was the key to managing your expectations while making sure that you still were able to get everything that you wanted in a home? So balancing that. How did that work for you?
I think the biggest thing is obviously like you took us through so many different houses. And we had an idea of our price range. And so we looked at a little bit above as well as below to kind of see what the difference was at the top end of our price range as well as the bottom end of our price range. So I think that kind of gave us a whole picture. It's like, okay, this is what we're looking for, and we want this criteria in a house. So as we kind of got to see more and more houses, that really was able to kind of put in perspective on what we could afford, as well as what we were looking for in the house as well.
Yeah. Do you think shopping around early and looking at the higher and lower price points helped you narrow down realistically what you could get for your budget?
Definitely.
I would say so. And then I think Julie was really great at looking at what was on the market and how long it had been on the market to also say which one had better negotiation tactics going into it. And that was super helpful. I will say that Nathan's a little bit more realistic than me. And so I did not do expectations well at the beginning and fell in love with the first house we put an offer in. And so that was
I think we all fell in love with that house. It was very cute.
It was. But I think like having that rejection helped with the future process of honing in expectations and understanding like you might not get it and what the emotions are going to be after that.
Yeah.
So even though it was not great, it helped the process.
Yeah, it's not fun to go through it, but I think that's part of the experience of being a first-time buyer is every part of the process is new. So the emotions tied to each phase, it's a little bit of a roller coaster ride. So I remember when we walked out of that house, and Nathan and I looked at each other. We're like, okay, Paige, manage your expectations, because we knew that it was going to be a multiple offer situation. And so that first one was hard. But then I think we had 2 other multiple offer situations that you guys entered into. And so you took that experience and were able to kind of learn from it and sort of manage your hopes.
There's not too many things that you in life that you buy that you're competing against with someone else.
Oh,
Obviously,
so
unless you're going
true.
to an actual auction. I mean, when you go to the store, you see whatever that you want to buy, and you buy it, and that's what you get.
Right.
Whereas here, you want to buy something, but you might get it, you might not, and you don't know. So,
No, that's such a good point. I never thought of that, actually, and that's what it's like. And so you ride that roller coaster a
it is
bit.
a little bit of a roller coaster.
But obviously, it paid off. It paid off.
All right, here's the fun question. When did you know this was the right home for you?
I know for myself, I know her moment, but I'm not wondering if she's going to say what it was. Personally, for me, it was when we came into the house, saw just the front of it, how it's laid out. But my big thing was when I saw the back patio in the yard was my biggest thing for me personally. So
just for a little background, we had been under contract with another house that we thought was going to be the one. We went through the inspections, everything else, and we just ended up terminating on that one. So walking into this house after going through everything, it was kind of on that fence of, do we want to go through this process again? Something I've always wanted in a house is a really big laundry room, and this house delivered. I opened the doors and I was like, all right, Nathan, we're putting an offer in this house.
I know. I remember, like, first of all, when we walked in the door, I was like, oh my goodness, this is the one. But when I came around the corner and you were coming that way and you looked in there, it was like, it's a huge laundry room with a sink. And I was like, yep, this is it. This is the house. So anyway, that was really exciting that day when we came through here, and we spent a lot of time in the backyard, and it was like, this is just so great. And when I'm working with a client, we started out by you guys giving us a list of here's what we're looking for, here's what we want. It's kind of your wish list. And then we sort of have to manage expectations that the first house, you might have to have some trade-offs. And when we came in here, I was going through that list in my mind, and I was like, check, 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 check. I don't think you're giving up anything, except maybe the walls, and maybe the carpet.
A little bit more work. A little bit more work.
It was a little more work than you guys were thinking you were going to do.
But the previous house that we were originally under contract for that we had to terminate, it was a phenomenal house, did not need a ton of work, but we sacrificed the yard was the biggest thing. And that's one thing for us that we really enjoy being outside a lot. And so once we had terminated that and we were able to start over and find this house, that coming across that yard was a pretty
Yeah.
It's meant to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And by the way, for you at home that don't get to see this yard, there is a huge side yard with a big covered patio, a backyard, and another side yard that has a full pad for RV parking or whatever. So anyway, 3 sides, and plus the front yard is darling too.
Yes.
So
Front yard's a good size as well.
yard was great. All right.
So why don't you talk about like your inspection and the due diligence process and what that was like for you guys?
Yeah. So the inspection, you all offer or recommended 3 different inspectors, and we went actually with the same inspector for both houses.
Yeah.
And he was so great, very knowledgeable, explained everything. I think some of the surprises for us was kind of the financials of everything that you have to pay for along the process. So that was a little surprising.
Say more about that. What do you mean? So other first-time buyers know.
I guess we kind of knew that there would be a down payment that we would want. This is how much we wanted to put into it, but we weren't really aware of every aspect of everything. So the earnest money, the inspection, we needed a sewer scope. So all of this was different add-ons that we didn't realize.
Yeah, multiple inspections, so not just inspecting.
Oh
the
yeah,
house.
Yes.
right.
Yep.
Since you were under contract on 2 homes, you had the cost of 2 inspections.
Plus a sewer inspection.
Yes.
Right.
Things like that, which are add-ons. Yeah.
There are just a lot of things that if you don't know the real estate world that you just don't realize that how like
think
little
about.
things here and there.
Yeah,
stuff
they
like that,
all
so.
kind of add up.
Yeah.
And that was the thing with terminating the first contract is you had a little bit of that stress of are we going to get our earnest money back or not?
Right.
Yeah.
Which they did.
Yes.
Which is great news. That was
that's
very
very
good. We had a great, very professional agent on the other side of that other transaction, and he was really cool.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful to him for his professionalism and everything. And you guys did a great job working through that whole process because, again, just one more layer of stress for the process, but you guys were really graceful going through all of that.
You guys also did a great job of providing different options for us to kind of choose from in the sense of like different inspectors, different price ranges, different things like that. So that's always nice having, instead of having just like, hey, this is our inspector, here's a list of options that you can choose from. Pick which one you feel is most comfortable for you or that you think is best. So having that from you guys was a huge help.
Oh, good.
I will say also just letting us know that if we knew someone else that also could provide that service, that we were okay to use them.
Yes.
And not feeling like we had to go with who you were recommending, but just that these are people you've worked with, people you trust.
Right.
But if we had someone we also trusted, we are more than welcome to
Yes.
choose them.
Right.
So I think that was huge. That helped build the trust in our relationship.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
That's
I
awesome.
like it.
All right,
Okay.
so let's talk about Julie's negotiation skills.
Yeah. Well, we definitely put them to work.
Yeah, you exercise
two.
them in many
On two.
ways.
Yes.
Properties.
Yeah.
So how'd you feel about that process? I mean, some of that is like done behind the scenes. It's between me and the listing agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we did kind of prep you for how that would go.
And it's one of those things that obviously, since we built the relationship that we have, we trusted you in negotiating for us. Obviously, we did not see really a lot of that negotiation, but you were very transparent on, hey, this is what I told them, this is what they're coming back with, this is the what could happen, this is what hopefully will happen.
Yeah.
So you laid out all the different possibilities that could kind of arise from that situation. But overall, I mean, obviously you went to bat for us several times, and so we ended up doing very well with it, which was awesome. But again, that was more so on just I think the relationship that was built with you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So you trusted that Julie was going to make sure she did the best she could
Yes.
for you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, and I will say that was another thing within this whole process is the timelines. That is so important, and Julie was on top of it. Bailey was emailing us.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
the whole firm was on top of it, and that was things that, even though we were super aware of it, that if we hadn't known this process and you weren't as communicative as you were, we could have lost out on houses
Yeah.
because of it.
Yeah.
So I think that was huge as well, especially for me because I'm a numbers person.
Yeah, I know. That's great. It's perfect. Well, Liz and I are really blessed in that we've been able to build a good team of support. And so, every client has different expectations, different personality, different communication styles. And so between Liz and me and Bailey and David on our team, we can usually provide communication that is effective and works for what you're expecting. So, but it's a huge part of the process, especially when this is your first time through it. And so I think there were probably more than one or two times when I was like, if I'm over explaining, just stop me.
Yeah.
But again, and like you said in the beginning, I kind of am like a mom with you guys, but I can't help it because I think to myself, if this was my own, son, I would want to make sure they understood what they were doing. And so that was really important to me, that you understood what you were doing every step of the way. So if I overdid it,
Not at all.
sorry. But you didn't fire me, so that's good.
And you got back to us right away. There's several times that we texted you and thinking that it's like, okay, we'll hear back from her tomorrow, and all of a sudden, like 10 minutes later, we get a response kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's Sunday evening, and I'm like, she should not be texting us back right now.
Yeah.
Well, that's okay. I know that you guys are feeling nervous about things or curious or wanting to know, and so I don't want to make you wait.
Yeah,
So.
I think between you and Brandon, the way that the response that you guys would get back from how quickly you'd get back to us was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's
Good.
awesome.
Good.
And Brandon's their lender.
Yes,
Yeah.
Brandon's Linder.
Yes. I think we're on to, do you have any advice for first-time buyers?
Trust the process.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
It's kind of funny. Everyone that we talked to, when it came up to different situations that we kind of ran into, almost everyone I've talked to, they were just like, it'll work out how it's supposed to work out.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that it's a saying that she's like, oh yeah, okay, sure. But it actually did. It worked out because, like I said before, we had another house under contract, terminated that, and then found a even better house for what we were looking for. Even though it did seem like it was kind of just dragging out slowly, and like nothing would actually happen.
Yeah.
But everyone told us that just trust the process, it'll work out. And so we did that, and it actually did. So
Oh, that's awesome.
that's kind of the biggest thing for me.
Yeah. I think the beginning of it felt like a race instead of a marathon, and you kind of got to get ready for like the long haul because even though you go out on a weekend, maybe you do find your perfect house, but then it's still a month of timelines. Anything could happen. You could find a different house. You could not get an accepted offer. So just having faith in that process and in your agent is huge. And then just building a good team between the title company, your agent, the lender, all of that is huge. And I will say shop around. We talked to probably 5 different lenders before we chose. We talked to a couple different real estate agents. The title company we did not shop around on, but find the one
We have.
Yes.
We shopped around.
So I would say like whatever your vibe is, make sure it's
Best
a really
Yeah, it's a
conducive
match.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does seem
sure.
very overwhelming at first.
Yes.
But once you kind of get the basics of it, it starts to streamline everything a lot better. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But
I think
that's
you
not-
guys were really smart on a lot of levels, but you were patient, number one, and trusted that the right place was going to come along, especially when right out of the chute we found the one that you loved. And then we had to, what do they say? You got to kiss a lot of frogs before you meet a prince. I think we kissed a lot of frogs.
Yeah.
And so patience, number one. Number two, the other thing was you guys were both really clear on what you wanted.
Yeah.
Like you knew what you were looking for in the home, and you were really disciplined on your price point.
Yes.
And I was super proud of you guys or impressed that I don't again like I'm your mom, but I am. I mean, even clients that we have, I can think of another client right now, and you know who you are if you're watching, because it was the same situation. They knew the price point they were looking for, and they knew what they wanted for that price, and they were patient. They waited, and they found it, and it's that same feeling of, this is exactly right.
Yeah.
Nothing in real estate is ever perfect,
No.
but it can be just right for you guys. And so I think you were really smart in the way that you approached it, and that makes the process go better for everybody involved. I mean, even for us, the fact that you were so clear on what you wanted and your price point and everything, it helps us to be able to get it for you, as opposed to people who are all over the board.
Yeah.
It's like,
and that you're able to pivot so quickly, you know, to say, okay, I'm willing to trust the process enough to pivot and go for it again and keep going.
No,
Not
that's
get
definitely
discouraged.
big.
Yeah.
I think just like when we kind of like, for the price point, like when you kind of run the numbers and see what your payments and different things like that will be like, that really kind of puts it in perspective for you. And even though you saw the houses at like the upper end or a little bit above your price point, running the numbers, seeing what those came with, but then also finding stuff within your price point that offer the same features or similar things, and obviously having the lower price point, that's always a better thing.
Yeah, it helps for sure. And then it's always nice when you stick with your price point and then your appraisal comes in and you feel really good about what your offer price is. So that's always great too. Good. Well, anything that you would want to share with somebody who is a first-time buyer? Your friends, family, send them our way.
Patience and just keep looking constantly. Really, that's the big thing.
That's the other thing too.
Educate. Yes.
Oh, that is another point that you guys were so smart about. Nate and Paige actually went and did like a class with
Home buyers class, first home buyers class.
Well, it was about like a lender and another real estate agent, and they were kind of talking about the process and everything. And that was smart of you guys to take the time and the effort to really learn about the process before you ever jumped in. So on some level, you guys were really ready.
Yeah.
And
smart. Just learning the basics like that made a huge help. Just learning the terminology, learning how things kind of worked, what the process looks like overall. So taking that class was a huge help for us.
I would say pre-approval with your lender as well. And a lot of lenders will approve you for over what you can actually afford. So get your pre-approval and then figure out, like have them do a complete breakdown of all the costs and what your monthly payment would be and see if that's what you're comfortable with.
Right. Because you may be able to do it, but you may not want to do it.
Right.
And that's just a personal question that you have to answer. And I think especially, again, first-time buyers, you might get that number and think, how would I ever do that? If you feel like that, don't do it. Do what you're comfortable with. And I think we're here tonight as proof that you can say, this is what I want to afford, and you got exactly what you were looking for.
I was very surprised at what they approved us for. So
I know. So that's part of the experience sometimes.
Definitely.
So.
And I would say education on the different types of loans, because as first-time home buyers, it might not be best to go with a first-time home loan versus a VA versus a convention. So like find what fits you best.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where working with a really good lender is helpful too, because they can help you work through the process of, this may appear to be the best program for you, but actually this other one is
a better fit.
Because they'll look at the long-term picture where you're looking at just, I want this house.
Exactly.
So it's super helpful.
Keep your feet firmly planted on the ground.
Yes, definitely.
Good. Well, you guys, thank you so much.
Thank you for taking the time.
Here's to
Putting
your
up with
first
our
home.
technical difficulties.
That was good.
Cheers.
Cheers.